In the next 3 to 5 minutes, I'm going to be teaching you the 3 steps that you can take right now to start retaining the Swahili that you're learning. Hi, my name is Karen Wanjiru Stringer, creator of the LSN on-demand platform where I teach busy Swahili learners just like you how to achieve fluency all while spending minimal time. So have you ever found yourself where you are studying as much vocabulary as you can, spending a lot of time, and yet if somebody asks you to like 2 days from then what you learned the previous day, you do not remember? Well, you are not alone, because a lot of language learners find themselves in that situation. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to teach you a few things you can start doing right now to make sure that you are retaining what you're learning and thus spending your time efficiently, okay? Let me pull up my whiteboard. Okay, so here I have a few questions that you need to ask yourself. 1, do you have the fundamentals? 2, do you have time-specific or setting-specific goals? And then how are you using your memory aids? Don't worry, I'm going to explain what this means. So the challenge is, if you've watched one of my other videos, is people run to learn vocabulary while they don't know what to do with it. So for instance, they start learning a language and then all of a sudden they feel the need to learn all of like 100 words, because they feel like the more words you know, the better you're going to be speaking. That's not necessarily true. I always recommend first learn the fundamentals and learn how to put things together so that you are able to utilize the vocabulary efficiently. If you want to learn more about how to use the fundamentals, I can always send you the video that I've done on that. But for this, it's about retaining. So let's assume up to this point that you have achieved the fundamentals, but you're still struggling in terms of how to retain the new vocabulary that you're learning. So the second thing is, do you have a specific time-specific or setting-specific goal? Because when people are learning a language, they approach it as just one big thing. But you have to realize that it's a very long process and you need a way to continue gauging your progress. So I usually say, you can say, like, for instance, this month, I am specifically working on talking, like having basic introduction. Okay, so what that means that you're going to focus yourself on simply learning things that have to do with introduction. You're going to learn how to say your name. You're going to learn how to ask people's names and just have that basic conversation. You will not waste your time learning other things. And then what this will force you to do, it's going to force you to look for opportunities to use those things. Okay, and maybe you have learned that you want to learn setting specific goals. For instance, I want to be able to know how to speak about the kitchen. So are we cooking? Are we cleaning? Are we chopping up food? Just different things that you need to do in the kitchen. And therefore, learn those things that are related to that specific setting. So it's not going to be very helpful if you're learning about the moon and learning about forests, because you're not going to be using those things as often. Those things work in an immersive setting where you're just automatically observing things. But if you're learning a language like most of us through the internet, you have to be very strategic about how you're doing this. Okay, so let's say you have chosen that you're going to be learning about the kitchen. Now, how do you go about making a practical application about that? So this is when we go to point number 3. How are you using your memory aids? Because people tend to make flashcards. There's nothing wrong with that. So we have flashcards, and then you also have, you can do sticky notes. So you have to be strategic about how you're using these things. Why? Because they can end up hurting you as opposed to helping you. So I recommend that within the first, let's say this week, or you're learning about the kitchen, I recommend that the first 3 days, you pin those sticky notes on whatever items that you're going to be talking about, okay? So 3 days, you have a sticky note maybe on your cupboard, a fridge, and whatever it is. And then do not keep them there. By day 3, or if you're doing it once per week, I recommend you remove those things and now start replacing your language, your day-to-day language with what you had on there. So instead of saying, I want to open the fridge, you can say, ninataka kufungua friji. And remember, you're not just putting sticky notes for words, nouns. You're also putting sticky notes for verbs that you're going to be using. So choose maybe 5 verbs that are related to the kitchen, like pika, safisha. Pika is to cook, safisha is to clean. What else? Kata kata, which means to chop up. Just whatever it is you use, make sure that the vocabulary you're choosing is relevant to you. It doesn't matter if you know 500 words if you cannot use it. I'd rather you have 100 very relevant words that you can use even though nobody else understands you in the house. So you can tell whoever you live with, ninataka kikombe, that's a cup. Okay, and then say it in English, what you meant. The difference between random memorization is this time you know what you're saying, you're simply looking for more opportunities to learn that. So first of all, make sure you have the fundamentals, because this is not about random memorization. This is where you already know how to put things together. And then make sure you have a time specific, maybe per week, I want to be able to do this setting, or I want to be able to introduce myself. And then also make sure you're using your memory aids not as crutches, but rather at bridges between you using the words in English versus you using the words in Swahili. So I hope you found that this video helpful. And of course, if you want more information, make sure you follow me, whether you're watching this on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, so that you can receive more tips. Have a wonderful day.